Alright, so in this video what we're going to do is try to put everything together, review the connections, talk about the FlySky FSI6 in his stock mode, so with 6 channels, how we're going to get these 6 channels over here, and then we might have a chance to do a first flight. So this is the basics that you need, just following what we have done before, putting the frame together, calibrating the motors, calibrating propellers, and then we're going to go through the mission planner and go through all the calibration process as well before we're ready for our first flight. So I'm going to quickly go through the connections here. So let's start with the inputs. So in this case I'm going to use the FlySky FSI A6B. The reason is because in the future I'm planning on doing iBus and getting the 10 channels, but we're going to make a different video for that. In this occasion we're going to run PPM through channel 1. So you got the channel 1, and then I'm getting 5 volts from the flight controller, and then you go in from the flight controller to channel 1, that's your PPM input, and also in order to get the PPM working on the APM, you need to make sure you short circuit or you put a jumper between channels 2 and 3. So if you put a jumper between 2 and 3, the APM is gonna read PPM. Otherwise, you're gonna be reading PWM, and you're just gonna have one channel input on the APM 3.1. If I turn around, I'm not using any auxiliaries as yet. I'm also, so I got the power module here, so you can see the power module. I went through, I think I spoke about it before. We can power the board different ways through the ESCs, but I think this is the best way. Also, you get a chance to read voltage and current, which is fantastic. It's a really great tool. Then we also got here, so we got the outputs, so the 4 motors and ground. So 1 to 4 from left to right, and then the ground on the right. So as I mentioned before on the other videos, it's really important to label your cables, make sure that they match. So when you start your first flight, you can test the motors independently, make sure they rotate in the right direction. If you turn around here, you're gonna see the GPS connection over here. As I said before, this is the little APM 3.1. It comes with this GPS and compass. So I already done I think is the jumper number 1 that you have to cut, so you can enable the external compass. On this side again, I got the USB because I'm going to be connecting to the computer. Later on I'll be having the 3DR radio system, so I don't need a wide cable to connect to my computer. Other than that, this is pretty much what you need. You don't need the video transmitter. This is just there, so I just left it in there. But basically what you need is the quadcopter frame, motors, ESCs, flight controller, radio control, and the power module. You can still power the flight controller without the power module, and you still need to do a little bit of adjustments on the flight controller to make sure that all the voltage goes through. And yeah, so I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. Alright, so this is the first time that we gonna try to put this quadcopter into the PC. This is the first image you get when you plug your when you open the mission planner. Then you're going to go to initial setup. You're going to try to install firmware. Alright, so it's going to get all the models, and after that you just click on it. It's going to download. You do not have to connect your quad in order to get the firmware. In fact, you should not do it. It doesn't allow it anyway. So what we're going to do here, we've already done it, so basically you're just clicking here. What we're going to do is set up and try to calibrate sensors and stuff. So we're going to connect, make sure that your COM is the right port that you have plugged in. For some reason my USB port in my laptop doesn't have enough power to run the flat controller and receiver, so I'm running on battery and as well as the USB, and it does work. As I mentioned before, over here you cannot load the firmware if you're connected to the computer. So then you go to mandatory firmware, you choose your frame over here. I've already done it. Then you go to accelerometer calibration. So for that, I'm going to pop up the window here. So you put it on the floor, right? Then you start calibration. So it says level, and then towards the left. Let's put it on his left here. Now his right. Then nose down, because that's the front of the drone. Then nose up. And then on his back. And then it's successful. That's awesome. Again, this is the front of the quadcopter at this moment, because it's pointed north this way, so that's why I'm doing it. You calibrate level and complete it. Then you go to compass calibration, and that's why I got this chair here, because I've seen videos and I've seen so many things trying to calibrate these and they don't get it right. So I think there's a guy that has done it this way, and I think he's fantastic. The only thing that you need to make sure is that this one, the compass, because it's here, stays in the middle of the chair. So let's start do it. You just go over here in live calibration. Make sure you're pointing north. So I know where the north is in this house, so that's why it's the orientation that way. So you go live calibration. So then you just basically need to rotate and change 90 degrees and keep it rotating. So north, so this is the first one. So what we're going to do here, we need to try to hit and get all those white dots on the screen. As you can see, as I rotate, it gets the dots until I level, and then I turn 90 degrees. As I mentioned before, make sure this one tries to stay in the middle. Then you rotate another 360 degrees. And then you go to the other side and do the same thing. I don't have the wireless module as yet, but there you go. Then do it this way. Cable issues here until I complete this. Oops. And then we got to do a nose down. Same story. Let's go the other way. Got a little bit of cable there. And then you go upside down. And then you just rotate 360 degrees to get those top points, and you get back to your position. So you captured all the white points over there. That's all you need to do. Sometimes the software will stop the calibration, but as long as you hit the white dots, you're ready to go. So you go here, done, and then it tells you the values. You can do it as many times as you want until you're happy with it. And then you go to radio calibration. So I got my radio on here. So what we're going to do is click here, calibrate radio, and what we're going to do here is make sure we go to the limits of our sticks. Same here, you can see. So move them in all directions. So we put in the limits to it. Same with this. I got this channel on channel 6, and my modes are here. And then click when done. Make sure everything is in the middle, and then your throttle is down. Then you click OK, and then those are your new values. Then you got ESC. I recommend doing the ESC separately. Basically what you need to do is do it individually, and basically you need to put the throttle up, connect the ESC, then it's going to beep, and then you put it down, it does a double beep, and it's calibrated. Might make a video later on, but it's pretty straightforward. There's heaps of videos on how to calibrate ESCs, so I'm not going to go through it. The flat modes, so you got the flat modes here. So as I change this switch, you can see over here where it says 1072. That's the PWM that is reading from the radio. So I got my 3 position switch, and as I change this one, which is mixed, I got your 6 modes over there. No problem. Alright, if you need to adjust these PWM values in order to meet these criteria, all you need to do on these radio is go to setup, and then endpoints. As you can see on channel 5, I have changed the endpoints, so it does the job over there in Mission Planner. Make sure you press cancel and hold the cancel button to make changes on these radio, and also with the Failsafe, all you need to make sure is that if you see the PWM value that I got there, it's almost 2000. I bring it down to 1026. If I turn my radio off, it's going to go to 1000. So basically what I want to tell the Mission Planner is that if you go a value below this number, you're going to trigger Failsafe. Alright, if I turn my radio on again, all the sticks up. If I turn my radio on again, I got 1027. Even if I had the stick here, I was flying, I lose radio, or this one goes off, PWM goes down, and the quadcopter is going to return to launch automatically. Alright, this is a little bit of a setup from here, but it's pretty straightforward. There's heaps of information on how to set up the failsafe on this one. And then after that, you're pretty much set. We can later on do the where is it? The power module, and over here. So we can later on do this over here and calibrate it. We'll make a separate video for it. Other than that, we should be ready to go. So in fact, if I try to arm my quadcopter, so right stick, bottom, hold, and it's armed. The motor starts spinning really slow, and I got full control now, and I can see in the screen here, over here, when I point my mouse, that if I change my modes, it will change to altitude hold, loiter, and return to launch. Alright, other than that, this quadcopter is ready to go, and we're gonna keep putting little bits and pieces, and I'm gonna keep making videos about you know, FPV and you know, the link to avoid this cable over here. Other than that, we're almost ready to go. Cheers.